it's not that I don't care if all of society believes something like that I disagree with, but I really don't view it as my place to change anybody's mind. I just want people, especially women, to flourish. That's like my main thing. And I just want my subscribers and readers and followers to feel blessed and inspired to be feminine, inspired to follow their dreams, connect with their inner self, and to feel like they're thriving and blossoming. Everybody, and welcome back to my channel. My name is Caitlin and I run the blog called Mrs. Midwest. I live in the Midwest with my husband and dog. This is Harley. And today we're going to be doing more of a personal video. We're going to be doing a Q&A. We've reached a pretty high threshold of subscribers on YouTube, so I thought it would be good to celebrate with a Q&A. You know, I might do a live video soon once I figure out how to do that. But for today, I thought it would be really great to dive into some of your questions. So I put on my Instagram story that I wanted you guys to ask me some questions. I ended up getting more questions than I could ever answer within 3 hours. So I took it down from my story and I'm keeping it to those questions, and I'm just going to answer some of the most popular ones today. Okay, so we're going to dive in. I'm going to tell you how old I am, where I'm from, did I go to university, and how I became a homemaker. So all of that kind of goes together because it's my story. So I'm going to give you the Reader's Digest version. So I am 24 years old. I just turned 24 a couple days ago. I grew up in Brighton, Ontario, which is a small rural Dutch town outside of Toronto by about an hour. But I wasn't born in Canada. I was born in the United States and then grew up in Canada. My parents did want me to go to university, but they were okay with me getting married out of college. So they never had these pressures on me to be a career woman, which I do think helped my mindset, because I always felt like I had the option to be a career woman and be married or single or whatever, but I also had the option to be a homemaker or a part-time worker or work from home or just be a mom. You know, I felt like I had a lot of flexibility there, and my parents didn't push me in a specific way, and that was really wonderful. I think it really helped me create this mindset where I truly believe all women should have the choice and not be shamed either way. But I want to stress that I don't believe there's one path for every single woman. I think it's based on how God made you and who you are in your heart and your dreams, and also just the way life turns out. We can't always guarantee a husband, you know? And so I think it's important for us to be practical and have a marketable skill to fall back on so we can support ourselves. But it's also important to realize that many of us will turn 20, 21, 22 and suddenly feel a longing in our heart to be married or to be a mother or to start nesting. You know, that's really natural. That's how women were created. And so I truly believe that women should follow their instincts, their dreams, and not be pressured either way. So yes, my parents didn't pressure me either way. I think they always thought, you know, she'll get married, because I had always talked about being married. That was my biggest goal. I'm not ashamed of saying that. My biggest goal was to be married because I wanted to be in a romantic relationship. I think romance and having a partner who loves you and that connection with somebody is truly incredible. I think it's one of the best parts of the human experience. So because of that, when I was in university, I was open to dating. I had a couple boyfriends in college. Saved myself for marriage. That was a question. I did save myself for marriage, but it didn't make me like this prude, you know? My first kiss was when I was 15. You know, I always had this boundary where, you know, I'm not going to be like this prudish Christian where I can't kiss a guy or I can't flirt or I can't like have relationships. I think that's a really important part of becoming socially immersed in life. I think you need to date. I think it's a good thing, at least for me. I went to a Christian university, and because of that, I just kind of assumed, you know, I'm probably going to meet my husband here. having a matching religious background was very important to me. So I just kind of felt, if there's any time in my life I'm going to meet somebody, it's probably going to be when I'm surrounded by thousands of young, eligible Christian men. And I did. I met my husband when I was in university. We met on a study abroad to Israel. From the moment we met to the moment we got married was a year and a half. And in total now we've been together for 3 years. It was very easy for us. We both knew very quickly that we wanted to get married. A lot of you asked if my husband was supportive of me being a homemaker even though we don't have kids. And I will say yes, he is completely supportive. He wanted me to be happy, and it was taking a really big toll to go to this negative work environment and also to not see him. And so the balance for us was working from home or part-time in some capacity. So before we have kids. But, when we have kids, he has always had the vision of having a stay-at-home wife. I think that a lot of young men out there still want that, and I don't think a lot of people know how to say that. I never had this vision for my life where a career would be the main deal. My family life was always way more important. And my mom was a stay-at-home mom starting when I went into high school, but when I was growing up, she had a career. And, she was very successful. She was a speech language pathologist, and so she was busy a lot of the times. And I think that kind of affected my childhood in the sense that I felt like I wanted to be around for my children and to be at home if at all possible. So I think that's why I was shaped in this way where I always felt like my priority is going to be my children, my husband, and my family. And if that permits some part-time work, fine. But I didn't have like a huge passion in any specific career field. I'm not made to be a nurse. I'm not made to be a teacher. I don't have those interests, but I have always cared about women and women's ministry and writing. And so that's kind of how I ended up studying strategic communications, which I got a degree in. And then when I was graduating, I felt like, oh, that's never going to happen. I'll just go do some marketing and PR. But it did end up happening. I'm using a lot of those skills with my YouTube channel and my blog. And so I truly believe that God knits everything together in your life. God knows your talents, and it's important that we nurture our talents. I'm content with if I'm just going to be a stay-at-home mom for a few years. I'm content if I'm going to be doing this blogging for a while. I'm just content with whatever the Lord gives me. So yes, in a long story short, I did go to university. I did graduate. I am kind of using my degree. And I had always planned on getting married young. I had always wanted that, and it happened. Praise be to God. So that kind of ties us into some more questions you guys had. You were curious about my husband, how we met, etc., etc. So my husband and I, as I said, we met in Israel on a study abroad. I would say we fell in love very quickly, and we've always just been on the same page with things. We have the same beliefs. He really understands me, and I feel like I didn't have that with a lot of my other relationships. I'm a very emotional person. I'm very emotionally led, and my husband accepts that about me, and he understands it while grounding me. And so when I met him, and I just met this person who wasn't afraid to challenge me on things, but also really understood where I was coming from, it was just intoxicating. And I was like, oh, I have to be with this person. And so yes, we got married. He's a year older than me. So he was working as a police officer. He's a state trooper. And so when we got married, I was working a 9-to-5 job for about 6 months, but my husband was doing, all sorts of different shifts. That's the nature of police work in America. You do every other weekend. For most departments, you do every other weekend, and then you have your weekend off in the middle of the week. So when I was working 9 to 5, we didn't see each other very much. And that was kind of hard on me and hard on our household and our marriage because we were both just so busy. And the thing is, I hadn't dreamed of that career, So I decided, and he was fully supportive, that I should be at home and then pursue some freelance work, part-time work, whatever. So that's kind of how I became a homemaker. I always expected to be a homemaker, but not this soon out of university. I thought that I would maybe work for a couple years and then become a mother, and then I would be a homemaker. but the way it turned out is actually so much better. So in October, I guess you could say, November, I started blogging regularly. It wasn't intended to be about femininity. It wasn't supposed to be about homemaking or marriage. I just wanted to share my thoughts with the world. And I didn't really expect anybody to read it either. It was just something for me to do outside of my volunteer work and the church and outside of my homemaking. Then I made my first video 2 months ago, and here we are now. A lot of you were asking about my makeup and skincare routine, and I have so many thoughts about this. So I am not a makeup guru. I honestly don't think that I'm the best source of advice for you guys on this, but I will share because you're very curious. So my skincare routine, I follow a K-beauty, Korean beauty skincare routine. So it's like an 8-step situation full of double cleansing, exfoliation, toner, essence, serum, moisturizer, sunscreen, all of that. It sounds like a lot, but it really isn't once you kind of like get it down. And you don't have to do all those steps every single day, morning and night. You know, you don't have to exfoliate every single day. So if you're interested in my skincare routine, I do follow a K-beauty skincare routine. I will link some great articles about that below. I learned about this through a subreddit called Skincare Addiction, and I would honestly recommend that to you guys so much. Make a Reddit account, go look on Skincare Addiction, because you'll learn so much about your skin type. Every time I have a weird like breakout or a dry patch or something, I'll go look at that subreddit and I'll see photos of other people struggling with the same thing, and then the advice people give, and it's such helpful advice. And so, you know, your skin is very important and it changes all the time. You know, I had a dry patch here for like 3 months in the winter, and it was horrible, but that subreddit helped me figure out what I needed to do to fix it. And so I don't have a lot of that knowledge in my head. It's out there on the internet. So my biggest recommendation to you is maybe consider a K-beauty routine if you're interested in having skin like me, and wear sunscreen, obviously, and then follow, you know, advice from Skincare Addiction. A lot of you have been asking about my makeup, and again, I'm not a guru. I do have 2 makeup products that I will recommend today. I have this Milani natural shade lip liner, and I wear this every day. I line my lips every day because I have some freckles that kind of blend into my lip line. So I use this lip liner, Milani. I will link it below. It's awesome. I love it. And it's so cheap. It's like $3 or something like that. And then I use e.l.f. liquid eyeliner. I would recommend this. I really like it because it doesn't stick on your eye like a tattoo. I know that a lot of people really like to recommend long-lasting makeup, but I really like this because it comes off at night really easily. And again, I'm all about that skincare, so I don't want to like cause stretches and wrinkles by like trying to get makeup off at nighttime. So I really like something that dissolves really easily. And this e.l.f. liquid eyeliner is $2 and it's wonderful. So I will try to find better recommendations for you guys in the future, but yeah, Milani lip liner and e.l.f. eyeliner. So I'm just lining everything. Okay, so I got a couple questions about what my favorite nonfiction book is, and I don't really have one, but I'm reading a really great book right now that I think a lot of you would love. It's called Sex Matters, and it's by Mona Karen, I'm not sure. The tagline is how modern feminism lost touch with science, love, and common sense. And so I feel like this really touches on a lot of the things I like to talk about. It talks about how feminism really started out in this great area, but then it slowly turned into this like militant thing. And it talks about all of that. It talks about careers, gender roles, you know, biological sex, and just a lot of common sense. And if you like my videos, if you like my ideology, I think you guys would love this book. So I'm totally recommending this for you guys today. Someone asked if I am naturally cheerful, and I would say yes. My default setting is cheerfulness. I think that's my personality. But it doesn't mean I don't get unhappy. It doesn't mean I don't struggle. The thing is, yes, I am naturally cheerful, but I would say even more than that, I'm naturally emotional. And because of that, I feel the good feelings very deeply, and I feel the hard times very deeply. And I know what it's like to be in those dark times. I know what it's like to go through life and to not feel happy and to not feel cheerful. But I also know what it's like to pick yourself out from that intense anxiety, intense fear, intense sadness and grief, and to move forward in life. I had to do that in the past few years, but in that time of my life, I felt so dark and disturbed. You can find more about that on my blog. But to answer that question, yes, I would say I'm naturally cheerful. I would also say the joy of the Lord gives me strength. I would say the Holy Spirit in my life gives me that joy. But it doesn't mean I don't have dark times. I had years of my life where I had dark times, and that's all in my blog. My personality is naturally cheerful. But yeah, it doesn't mean I don't struggle. So a bunch of people asked about my routines: morning routine, night routine, weekly cleaning routine, grocery routine. And I am so sorry to deliver this news. I don't know if this is embarrassing, but I don't have any routines. This is why I just feel so bad, because it's I feel like you guys, I don't know, you guys are so wonderful and you want all of this advice, but I feel like I'm the worst person to give it to you. I feel like I'm the worst person to give you makeup advice because I'm literally recommending e.l.f. cosmetics to you. And so with my routine, I just feel like I'm not like that YouTuber that's okay, so my morning routine, I wake up and I do some yoga, and then I have a green smoothie and I do my devotions and I pray to God. That's not my morning routine. My morning routine is again, my husband's on night shift, and so my morning routine is creeping out of the bed as quiet as possible, creeping through a wardrobe, getting my favorite clothes, creeping into the bathroom, doing my makeup, doing my face, letting the dog out, getting some coffee, and then blogging. I don't really view my cleaning as a routine as much as keeping up with things in a timely manner. Cleaning the kitchen. I put the kitchen to bed every single night. I make sure the kitchen is tidy, picked up, and clean every single night. And I think that really changed my life, was making sure that it's like a reset button for my house. Every single night I make sure things are picked up around the house. My kitchen is actually clean and the dishes are put away, and that has really helped me. And so I do have a cleaning routine in the sense that I won't go to bed unless the kitchen is clean. Every day is different for us because my husband works such weird hours and he's also on call. I like to do a lot of that homemaking and cleaning and blogging and stuff when he's working, so that when he's at home and we have leisure time together, we can spend that time together. So I would say that's the biggest reason I don't have much of a routine or a daily routine, is because I like to do that work when he's working. So a lot of it is based on his schedule, and I'm completely fine with that because it makes me happy to spend time with him when he's available. But yeah, as far as cleaning and my daily routine, my morning routine, it's mostly just focusing on cleaning things when I notice they're messy, but then making sure those big high traffic areas like a kitchen, like a laundry room, like a bathroom are kind of reset every day or every few days. It's important to reset your bathroom every week, reset your laundry room every couple days, and reset your kitchen every day. That's how I focus on those routines. A lot of people asked about my plans for children, and I have to say, yeah, I'm gonna have children. I'm not a baby person. I want to do a video on this eventually, but I don't think you have to be a baby person to want to be a mother. And I want to start that in the next year or 2 years. I want to start trying to get pregnant. My family history has a lot of stillborns and miscarriages. So because of that, I don't mind starting younger. Because who knows what that fertility journey is going to look like? Who knows how many miscarriages, or if I'm going to have a miscarriage, I just don't know. And so because of that, I do want to start when I'm 25. I think that that's old enough for me, and by then we'll have been married about 3 years, and I think that's really good. Also, I'm at home. We have 2 spare bedrooms, we have the space for it. It's all in God's hands, ultimately. Some of you asked how many kids I want. I would love to have 3 to 4 kids. I want a big family. I love the idea of having a bunch of siblings, a big family gathering, and then when our kids have kids, I love the idea of everybody having a lot of cousins, because that's how I grew up. My grandma had 5 kids, and each of her kids had 3 kids. So I had a lot of cousins, and it was really fun growing up, and it was really like wonderful to be part of a big family. Somebody asked, how do I respond to people disagreeing with my controversial beliefs? The main way I respond to that is by not responding. I don't read negative comments. My husband actually moderates the comment section, and so I just don't respond to that because I'm not here to have an argument. I don't believe in twisting people's arms into believing what you believe. And because of that, I just don't have a desire to force anyone to see things my way. I like sharing my thoughts on things. I like sharing my ideas, but I'm not here to change anybody's mind, you know? I don't really view that as my purpose in life, and I don't view it as something I'm really called to do. I truly believe that people should have the space to believe what they want to believe. And so when someone disagrees with me, I don't really feel the need to argue it. Yeah, it hurts my feelings to read like negative comments about me or my beliefs. But again, I live in a small town with a lot of Christian people. Most of my friends are homemakers. I don't run into people, at least in my hometown, who disagree with my lifestyle. If I do meet someone in person who disagrees with my lifestyle, people are way more polite in person than online. Like, there's something about being online that just makes people feel like they're anonymous and they can be like the worst version of themselves. It's not that I don't care if all of society believes something like that I disagree with, but I really don't view it as my place to change anybody's mind. I just want people, especially women, to flourish. And I just want my subscribers and readers and followers to feel blessed and inspired to be feminine, inspired to follow their dreams, connect with their inner self, and to feel like they're thriving and blossoming, That's what I believe. And again, I don't sit here thinking I'm going to change anybody's mind, and I don't really care to change people's minds if that would make them upset. Like, if it would make you really upset to change your mind about something, like, I don't, just live your life, like, you do you. But if it would make you really happy to take on some of this advice I'm giving you, good. Like, that's kind of how I view it. A lot of people asked about how to accept a season of singleness, and I think I'm just going to make a whole video on that. So I'm not going to answer that today, but good question. Someone asked how long it takes for me to get ready and if it's a drag. I timed it. When I get a little bit more glam for these videos, it takes about 30 minutes, but on an average day, it takes me about 15 to 20 minutes to get ready, including like my skincare and my makeup. It's not a drag. I love taking time to bless myself and to get ready. I always feel better and more confident when I have makeup on and when I'm ready for the day in a good outfit. And so, no, it's not a drag to get ready in the morning. Someone asked if I ever struggle with low self-esteem, and I will say yes. Absolutely. Abso-freaking-lutely. I do, and I have struggled with low self-esteem. I struggle with believing that people don't like me. I struggle with wanting to people please. I struggle with thinking I'm not pretty enough, not smart enough, whatever. I think low self-esteem is something that a lot of women struggle with. I think that low self-esteem is often just like part of the female struggle. It's part of like being a woman and just being a person in general, because you're unsure of your place in the world. You're unsure of how people perceive you, and you're unsure of your worth. And I think as you age, you become to get more comfortable in your worth, in who you are, and maybe even your religion or whatever. Push yourself outside of your comfort zone, and also be comfortable in the fact that you're not the only one. Everybody struggles with self-esteem problems at some point. And a lot of that does go away as you age and as you overcome things in life. Some of you asked if I will ever do vlog style videos and if I will ever do something like a thrift haul or things along those lines. And honestly, I'm not sure. I'm interested in branching out into those videos, but again, this is all very new for me. So I think that this is going to be a very gradual process of moving into different areas with it all. My dog's name is Harley, for anyone who's curious. It's a girl dog. She's a girl dog, even though she looks like a boy. She's 2.5 years old, and my husband got her and she's been a wonderful companion because I am home alone a lot as he goes to work. And so I would recommend to anybody to get a dog if you're home alone. And we feed her Taste of the Wild dog food, which I will link below. A lot of you also asked, how do you respond to parents pressuring you into a career, or other people pressuring you into a career, or not understanding your traditional beliefs? And I will do a video on that. But in the meantime, I would just encourage you all to remember that your life and your happiness is about you. And you can disagree with people and still have an amicable relationship, but you need to remember you can't live life for other people. I don't believe it's our job to change people's minds. It's nice to have everybody agree with us, but that's not always possible in life. And so in the meantime, I would encourage you to pursue what you know is best for you, and to pursue what makes you happy and what's life-giving to you. And you don't need to be rude to people who disagree with you. You don't need to be rude to your parents, but also have your boundaries. Don't let people push you in a direction that you feel is wrong for you. Oh, a ton of people asked about my hair, my waves, and how I do that. So I let my hair air dry, and it naturally has a bit of wave to it. I don't think I could get my hair pinned straight very easily. And I do have layers. I think that also gives a lot of body to my hair, and movement. And it's also a lot easier to tease the top of my hair because it's not really heavy and weighed down. But I got out the curling iron to show you guys. I've had this puppy for about 10 years. It's from the brand Pro Beauty Tools. And this is what you would call a 3-inch curling iron. You can see I've used it a lot because it's burned. I'll either wrap a piece around really gently and let it rest, or I'll start from the bottom if I want my ends to be really smooth. But yeah, that's how I curl my hair, and I leave it pretty loose. And I'll brush it out. So I always brush out my waves. And you guys will notice I switch my part a lot. So today we have a middle part, but I often do a side part as well. Yeah, maybe you're more used to this hairstyle on me. I like to tuck my hair too. So yeah, I have a lot of different hairstyles I do. I like to change my part a lot. I like to do very feminine hairstyles. This isn't very I feel like my hair is kind of dated because I still have the layers, because I do the girly hairstyles, but that's a way that I really like to express my femininity. Whatever hairstyle makes me feel very pretty is the one I'm going to do. So it's not very stylish, I don't have that chic, super straight, cool hair. But this hair makes me happy. So yeah, 3-inch curling iron. So yeah, I feel like this was all over the place. A synopsis of who I was. I always wanted to be married. I always planned on being a homemaker eventually. It just happened a little sooner than I thought it would, but I love it. And a lot of the reason we do this is because of my husband's crazy work schedule. It's just more sustainable for us to be together, and to have that flexible schedule, and I really love it. So yes, we live on one income, and some of you asked about my budgeting tips, and I'm so passionate about frugality and money, and I'm definitely going to do some videos on that. But yeah, I don't have all the answers about things. I'm just this routineless weird lady who wears elf eyeliner and chills at home. But I just hope today that you feel encouraged, and that you're not alone in your struggle to figure out what you should do in life. And we have so many videos to cover. There's so much to talk about still, and this channel is only going to continue adding those videos. I just want you guys to know I really appreciate all of you. Thank you for your questions. I'm so sorry that I can't answer each one, but again, you'll learn more about me as we grow this channel. We've only been doing this for 2 months now. It's been exactly 2 months. And so just know that we'll get to those, and your interest matters. Your encouragement has been wonderful, and we'll get to all of it. Hopefully someday all the questions will be answered. But in the meantime, I thank you for your time. I would be really surprised if you got to the end of this video, because it's going to be extra long. But I hope you have a wonderfully blessed and feminine day, my friends.